First homecoming, 1887 to 1888. After 5 years in Europe, José Rizal returned to the Philippines in August 1887. Despite his extensive travels and accomplishments abroad, he remained deeply committed to his homeland. Upon his return, he settled in his hometown of Calamba, where he began a quiet life as a country doctor. However, his peaceful existence was short-lived. His enemies, enraged by his novel Noli Me Tangere, began to persecute him, even going so far as to make threats against his life.
Decision to return home. Despite warnings from his family and friends not to go back to the Philippines because of the controversy caused by Noli Me Tangere, Rizal decided to return. His reasons were to operate on his mother's eyes, serve his oppressed people, see for himself the impact of his book, and find out why Leonor Rivera remained silent. In a letter to Blumentritt, he expressed his longing to live in homeland with his family, preferring it over life in Madrid. On June 29, 1887, Rizal informed his father that he would embark for the Philippines by mid-July. Delightful trip to Manila. Rizal traveled from Rome to Marcellus and boarded the steamer Himna on July 3, 1887, the same ship that had earlier taken him to Europe. The ship carried around 50 passengers of different nationalities, with Rizal being the only Filipino. As he spoke many languages, he served as an interpreter and enjoyed conversation, music, and games with fellow passengers. The voyage took them through the Suez Canal, which Rizal passed for the second time.
Arrival in Manila, August 5, 1887. Rizal voyage from Saigon was peaceful. Upon reaching Manila, he joyfully revisited his homeland, noticing that the city looked the same as when he left 5 years earlier. Happy Homecoming, August 8, 1887. Rizal returned to Calamba where his family greeted him with affection and tears of joy. He described their reunion to Blumentritt, expressing happy at seeing his family in good health. However, his family worried for his safety, with his brother Pasiano and father being protective. Medical practice in Calamba. Rizal established a clinic with his first patient being his nearly blind mother, all thought unable to operate. He treated her eyes and served many patients, earning the nickname Dr. Oliman. Within months, he earned 900 pesos, and by February 1888, about 5,000 pesos. His serve were affordable, sometimes even free for the poor. Community contribution. Rizal also founded gymnasium for youth, introducing new parents sports such as gymnastics, fencing, and shooting. He opposed cockfighting and jabbling, trying to uplift his town way of life. Personal struggles. His main disappointment was his failed relationship with Leonor Rivera. Her mother disapproved of Rizal, and his parents opposed their union. Suddenly, Leonor was later engaged to another man, as arranged by her parents.
Storm over the Noli. While Rizal was living peacefully in Calamba, practicing medicine, managing his gym, engaging in civic life, and even painting and translating poems, a storm was brewing over his novel, Noli Me Tangere. Governor General Emilio Terrero summoned Rizal to Malacanang after hearing that the book contained subversive ideas. Rizal defended himself, saying he only revealed the truth and never intended rebellion. Interested, the governor asked for a copy, but Rizal had none on hand. He sought one from his Jesuit mentors, who praised the book's honesty but warned, You may lose your head for it. Fortunately, Rizal retrieved a copy from a friend and gave it to Terrero. Recognizing the threat posed by the powerful friars, the governor assigned Rizal a bodyguard. Lieutenant José Tavial de Andrade, a noble cultured Spaniard who would protect him in the days ahead.
When Rizal's Noli Me Tangere was published, it created a strong impact among Filipinos. The Spanish authorities tried to ban the novel, but instead of stopping its spread, the prohibition only made it more popular. Many Filipinos read it in secret at night because it revealed the realities of oppression under Spanish rule. Rizal's enemies, especially the friars, reacted with anger and fear. However, Governor General Terrero did not allow mass arrests or execution of people who were caught reading the book. Governor Terrero himself read the Noli and saw nothing wrong with it. Still, the friars insisted that it was dangerous. Professors from the University of Santo Tomas, together with the Archbishop of Manila, declared that the novel was heretical, impious, and harmful to the Spanish government. Terrero was not fully convinced, so he referred it to the Permanent Commission of Censorship. This group, led by Father Salvador Pon, declared that the novel contained subversive ideas and recommended that its circulation be completely banned. Although Rizal's novel was condemned by the authorities, it continued to inspire Filipinos. For the Spanish rulers, it was a threat, but for the Filipino people, it became a source of hope and a call for a change.
Attackers of Noli. The publication of José Rizal's Noli Me Tangere sparked a fierce backlash from the friars and their allies, both in the Philippines and Spain. In the Philippines, the novel was virulently attacked by friars. Father José Rodriguez, an Augustinian friar, led the charge by publishing a series of 8 pamphlets. These pamphlets aimed to discredit the novel and its author. Copies were sold in churches, and many Filipinos felt pressured to buy them to avoid displeasing the friars, though they didn't necessarily believe the contents. Father Salvador Fon, another Augustinian, also contributed to the attack by printing his own report to undermine the novel. The controversy wasn't confined to the Philippines. The Noli was also assailed in Spain. It was fiercely debated in the session hall of the Spanish Cortes by senators such as General José de Salamanca, General Luis M. de Pando, and Senior Fernando Vida. Additionally, Vicente Varantes, a Spanish academician with a history of holding high government posts in the Philippines, published a scathing critique of the novel in the newspaper La España Moderna.
The Noli Me Tangere had many defenders who stood up against its critics. Marcelo H. Del Pilar, Antonio Marahidor, Graciano Lopez Haina, Mariano Ponce, and other reformists abroad defended its message. Father Sanchez, Rizal's teacher, praised it publicly, while Don Segismundo Moret, Dr. Miguel Moraita, and Professor Blumentritt also admired the novel. One strong defense came from Reverend Vicente Garcia, a Filipino priest scholar who wrote under the name Justo Desiderio Magalang, in his pamphlet published in Singapore in 1888. He answered Father Rodriguez's criticism. 1. Rizal was not ignorant because he was a graduate of Spanish universities and received scholastic honors. 2. The Noli attacked corrupt officials and friars, not Spain or the church. 3. Reading the Noli was not a mortal sin, so Father Rodriguez was wrong to claim so. Rizal was deeply moved by Garcia's support and also defended his novel against other critics. Exposing their ignorance, despite the attacks, the Noli became even more popular. Copies quickly sold out, and the price rose from 5 pesetas to 50.
Rizal and Tavial de Andrade. Amidst the controversy over his novel, Noli Me Tangere, José Rizal found an unlikely friend and protector in Lieutenant José Tavial de Andrade, a Spanish officer assigned as his bodyguard by Governor General Terrero. Despite being tasked with watching Rizal, Andrade developed a deep admiration for him. The two were similar in age and shared a love for the outdoors and intellectual pursuits. They spent their time together hiking, fencing, shooting, and painting. Their excursion included a memorable trip to Mount Makiling. Their peaceful time together was ultimately marred by two events. One, the death of Rizal's sister Olympia. This was a personal tragedy for Rizal, bringing sadness to his time in Calamba. 2. Slander from his enemies. Rizal's opponents, particularly the Proyars, spread false rumors to discredit him. They accused him of being a German spy, a Protestant, a Mason, and a sorcerer. These baseless accusations were so absurd that they included a claim that he and Andrade had raised the German flag on Mount Makiling to proclaim German rule over the Philippines. Andrade later wrote about his respect for Rizal, highlighting his refinement and gentlemanly nature while also noting the pernicious effects of the malicious rumors spread by the Proyars.
Calamba's agrarian chapel. Governor General Terrero, influenced by Noli Me Tangere, ordered an investigation into friar states to address unfair land taxes and tenants' relations. One of the states affected was the Calamba hacienda owned by Dominican order since 1883. Following the order, the civil governor of Laguna directed Calamba's municipal authorities to examine local agrarian conditions. The townspeople asked Rizal to help document their grievances. After studying the situation, Rizal wrote a report signed by tenants and officials on January 8, 1888. It revealed that the hacienda of the Dominican order comprised not only the lands around Calamba, but also the town of Calamba. The profits of the Dominican order continually increased because of the arbitrary increase of the rentals paid by the tenants. The hacienda owner never contributed a single sandapo for the celebration of the town fiesta, for education of the children, and for the improvement of agriculture. Tenants who had spent much labor in clearing the lands were dispossessed of said lands for flimsy reasons. High rates of interest charged the tenants for the late payment of rentals, and when the rentals could not be paid, the hacienda management confiscated their carabaos, tool, and homes.
Farewell to Calamba. Calamba became a cauldron of discontent thanks to Rizal's expose on the deplorable tenancy conditions, turning the friars into vengeful adversaries who pulled strings at Malacañang Palace, demanding his deportation. Governor General Terrero, caught in the crossfire, initially stood his ground, refusing to deport Rizal without legitimate charges, even as anonymous threats mounted against the young reformer. But the pressure intensified. Terrero, walking a tightrope, summoned Rizal, offering a thinly veiled advice: leave the Philippines, escape the brewing storm of the friars' fury. Rizal, ever the pragmatist, understood the gravity of the situation. It wasn't cowardice that drove his decision, but a strategic retreat. He would shield his family from harm and continue the fight from foreign soil, wielding his pen as his weapon. A poem for Lipa. Before embarking on his exile in 1888, he fulfilled a friend's request from Lipa with Himno al Trabajo, hymn to labor, a stirring ode to their industrious spirit, celebrating their town's elevation to a villa under the Becerra law.